The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in West Asia. Over his two-day visit, the American top diplomat made stops in Egypt, Jerusalem and Ramallah. And while his visit was dominated by the deadly clashes between the Israelis and the Palestinians, the U.S. failed to find an end for the recent tensions. So in our next story, we decode what did Washington want to achieve from this visit and what it actually achieved. Listen in.
The U.S.'s top diplomat Antony Blinken was in West Asia this week. The visit, a first since Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu took office, could not have come at a stickier time. Even before Blinken left for his trip to the volatile region, tensions between Israel and Palestine were running high. Deadly violence had played out, several innocent lives were lost, and the blame game out in the open. Analysts did not hope for much from the Secretary of State's visit, and even what came out was just the expected.
The victim is, or what they believe.
On Tuesday earlier this week, Blinken, who was winding up his three-day visit to West Asia after stops in Egypt, Jerusalem and West Bank for talks with leaders, called for calm amid an alarming spike in violence in the region. However, beyond urging the escalation of tensions, he took no initiative to actually scale down the tension. In fact, there were no signs of Blinken making progress towards even the modest goal of halting the latest wave of violence, leave alone addressing the broader issues surrounding peace talks. In Jerusalem, Blinken called for restoring calm, reiterated support for a two-state solution, but did not renew a call for peace talks between Israel and Palestine. The last clear attempt to promote a two-state solution between the two parties was under former U.S. President Barack Obama in 2014.
So restoring calm is our immediate task. But over the longer term, we have to do more than just lower tensions. The United States is committed to working toward our enduring goal of ensuring that Palestinians and Israelis enjoy equal measures of freedom, security, opportunity, justice, and dignity. And it's President Biden's firm conviction that the only way to achieve that goal is through preserving and then realizing the vision of two states for two peoples.
While Blinken discussed escalation with Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli leader chose to not mention Palestine. Netanyahu instead stressed that Iran is this government's top priority and the biggest security challenge the region faces at the moment.
And I think there's a common consensus that this regime must not acquire nuclear weapons. We've had very good discussions on forging a common policy, on trying to work together to thwart the danger. I can repeat again something that you've heard me say many times. Our policy and my policy is to do everything within Israel's power to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them.
While Israel chose to evade the topic, Palestine's Mahmoud Abbas put all blame on Israel.
We affirm that the Israeli government is responsible for what's happening these days because of its practices that undermine the two-state solution and violate the signed agreements.
The Palestinian Authority leader said he was committed to working with Washington and the international community to return to dialogue in what he called an effort to end the Israeli occupation of the land of State and Palestine, the one based on the 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as the Palestinian state's capital. Blinken also announced an additional $50 million in funding for the UN Agency for Refugees. He asked State Department colleagues from Washington to stay behind to do more work, but he did not announce any major initiative. Blinken's visit to West Asia had been long planned, but arrived at a critical time. Last week, 10 Palestinians were killed in an Israeli operation in the Jenin refugee camp. It was the deadliest raid the region had seen in the last few decades, and the fatalities included innocent civilians. The next day, a Palestinian gunman killed 7 Israelis outside a synagogue in East Jerusalem, the worst such attack in recent memory. West Asia Bureau, WION, The World is One.